Hello, I'm Holly Miami, and this is Same Ald Dross.
Same Ald Dross. Same Ald Dross. Same Ald Dross. Same Ald Dross.
Hello and welcome, I am Holly Miami. This is a brand new show here on Phoenix 4 Radio. This is Same Ald Dross, and it's called that because it is the same old stuff we do before. I hope you clocked on the original theme tune we've kicked off with. I'll tell you a little bit about it a bit later on, but for now, let's crock into our first track, or you crack into it. I tell you what, I could get my teeth changed over that.
Welcome to Phoenix 4 Internet Radio Station.
Yep, that's certainly us. All she wants is another baby from Ace of Base. Right, a little bit about what's been going on in my life. Yes, you know this show is going to be all about this. Before that, yes, we're going out on absolutely wonderful Phoenix 4 Radio. If you want to see what we look like, there is a video feed that's running out live at the moment on my website. So if you go to hollymiami.com, just click on the Twitch button on the top of the site there. You've got to join or anything like that. It'll just take you straight in to the actual feed, and you can see what we all look like here. It's not really a pretty sight, but it gives some interest anyway, and more to the point, I've worked rather hard on it, so if I've done it, y'all will have go and have a look at it. That's what it's all about. So what have we been doing? Yes, as you all know me, I've been out all summer filming different events, pride events, and all sorts of stuff like that, carnivals and festivals, and what happens when I go out and do these things, it sort of introduces this poor old girl to a whole more modern side of music. Now, I felt I'd sort of dropped into this a little bit last year, where I started playing, once I come back off my filming run then, what I call dancified classics. So I put a few of these in tonight. Oh, also apologies, some of the tracks you'll hear tonight you also heard on Wednesday night when I did that impromptu drop-in show, because I already had this show set up. So that's how it goes. It's sort of like a little bit, but if you squint a bit, you won't remember what they were, and you'll think, oh, I haven't heard this for ages. So we'll crack on with some music, some fun and frivolity. What I normally do on my shows, you'll find the first hour is sort of a little bit more upbeat and bouncy and dancey and stuff like that, and then we get into the more meaningful stuff a little bit later on. It goes a bit like this.
Left speaker check, right speaker check, mic check, banging beats check. Here we go.
Yes, the crazy frog version of Axel F, but always a good one. A little bit of a sort of flag up at this point. When I do a video show, I have to make you aware that sometimes some of the videos have got talking bits in the back, and if you are listening in audio only, it's all going to sound a little bit strange to you. So as I say, if you can, there's no point having a camera if I can't adjust my hair while I'm on here. So if you want to have a little look at the video, it will make a lot more sense. Yes, the summer filming, it was fun, it was great, it was washed out. You think the storm we got at the moment is bad, but let's face it, I mean, we were all around, none of us had any kind of a July whatsoever, and I was out there getting absolutely drowned week after week, weekend after weekend, but it's what I do, and I've got a lot of experience from it, and like I say, a lot of introduction to music I wouldn't normally have, because obviously being this Ald girl as I am, you don't normally find me in too many clubs, or I used to call them discos and stuff like that, but hey ho, it's how it goes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Holly Miami
in the mix.
Canned Heat, if you wondered who that was, a slightly lesser known band from the 70s. I was a huge fan at the time, which is why they very often pop up on my shows. Did you notice the theme tune that we opened up with? People who've been with me for a number of years, and I don't mean literally, but listening to me, there's not a lot of room left in the flat if you do that, been with me for a number of years, will have clicked that was a mashup I made of virtually all the theme tunes I've ever had to my shows. So the background on this, if you didn't know, I used to do a show called Walk on the Wild Side, which became Holly's Walk on the Wild Side, which became Holly's Wild Side, and then basically I just ran out of titles for the shows. I always used to use the catchphrase "Same Ald Dross." It's the same old thing, all week in, week out. It's just me sort of messing around, and that was cleaned up for radio, messing around on the radio. So it was just a simple progression just to call the show "Same Ald Dross." So that's why the strange title, and that's the background behind it. You see, it's all got a meaning. Stick with us, kid. We know what we're doing. Well, they know what we're doing.
And now, live on the decks, bringing you the hottest sounds. Let's go.
Yes, the absolutely delightful Caro Emerald. Where did she go? Cropped up a little bit in the early noughties, I think, sort of the early 2000s, and slung a couple of albums at us, and then naffed off, and that's the last we ever saw of her. She probably did an Adele. You know, Adele was forever doing that. Yeah, I'll go ahead, I'll put an album out, make a few million quid, and then take a couple of years off, then come back and do the same thing all over again. Not a bad way of doing it. It's sort of like retirement in your younger years, and we all know retirement can be rather good. Yes, stories about retirement. Those of you who were with me this time last year will have known that by then I had actually retired, and I spent a very, well, I wouldn't call it a joyful, a laid-back 18 months being retired, and then once my filming had finished, I was telling somebody I was talking to the last couple of days, the filming had finished and I sort of hit a brick wall. I mean, I was out sort of every single weekend from April through to October, sometimes twice in the weekend to different gigs, and all of a sudden I was sat in my rocking chair doing my knitting. We can't have none of that, so I thought, nah, we'll go back to work. So that's what I have. I'll tell you all about it in the next link, whether you want me to or not.
One of the main Moonable. That's the way it's supposed to be right there.
Lock it on to the best station on the net. Online. Around the planet on the World Wide Web. Streaming 24/7. Internet radio.
Yes, I've said many, many times, particularly when long drawn-out jingles like that come on, I'm going to get videoized jingles, or just play them over the top of the videos. That'd be another thing, wouldn't it? Yes, Charlie Pride. As you're well aware, if you know a little bit about my background, I do have a sort of a foot in the camp of country music, and there's a lot of really good stuff that floats around that finds its way into most shows that I do, and that is certainly one of them. Yes, so, new day work. So what am I doing? I'm driving buses. Yes, I know I used to drive all sorts of things before when I was doing that other job, but I'm driving buses for the county council for vulnerable and disabled people, and it's really, I've only done a couple of days so far last week, and it's really, really brilliant, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and it's just so me. You can just be completely yourself, and everybody else is completely themselves, and at long last, I feel I'm actually doing something important, and yes, in a way, I probably am. For the first time in my life, instead of just sat here, waffling away, or stood on stage, thumping away with guitars and things. You see, I got there in the end.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Hold on tight. Here we go.
Yes, I thought Ian might know who that one was. I don't suppose many others do. Curved Air from the 70s. And again, another one a little bit like we had earlier on, a little bit like Canned Heat. You've got to be seriously into your bands back then to have been part of that when everybody else was listening to pop charts and glam rock and all the rest of it. There were some of us who were listening to some quite interesting stuff. Yes, I know I've got old since, but there you go. That's how it goes. Curved Air, yes. It's funny because the girl singer on that one sounds very much like another one of Ian's favourite tracks, which will be coming up a bit later on. I saved it for him specially. He knows what it is before I start. Ooh, we said some things about that.
Get ready. for the wildest experience. Now.
Yes, obviously, Dr. Feelgood. I've had a soft spot for the Feelgoods ever since I played in a tribute band a few years ago. And before that, I wasn't really that interested, but yeah, that sort of thing. And if you were watching the video on that one, you see, Wilco was just as batty back then. He was younger and batty. And as he got older, he just got meaner and battier. Or something. Anyway, so how have you found our first full day here on Phoenix 4 Radio? It's been rather cool. Opened up by the absolutely delightful DJ Proud with his breakfast show. And then we had the absolutely wonderful Bossman Ian. And then we had the absolutely wonderful Bossman John. And now we got me, Slave Girl Holly. Oh well, never mind. We'll press on.
Exactly what I wanted. Checking out a picture as well. Really cool.
Welcome to Phoenix 4 Internet Radio Station.
Yes, you know what I'm like for versions, and if you don't, you'll get used to this. I try and choose my fave versions. Let's face it, Ed Sheeran is fairly famous for putting out different versions of the same songs. He does it to see which one is actually going to make any money, and then let's run that one. That one, and I noticed a couple of you in the chat room picked up on that. If you've not heard that one before, there's Perfect Symphony, obviously, with Andrea Bocelli, the opera singer. And sorry for the sudden start, but that's one of those videos that's got a lot of talking and dog barking and all in the beginning. I'm trying to chop that out, but I chopped too much out. But track down the MP3 or whatever off YouTube if you want your own version of that. That, unfortunately, is the only version I could get that had the nice, clear sound of Andrea Bocelli singing that. But yes, we thought that's cool. It's the sort of thing that somebody in the chat room says, it sends chills down you. That is perfect sort of harmony, as the name of the track says, Perfect Symphony, Perfect Harmony. We like that greatly.
Five, four, three, two, one. We have ignition. Strap in. You're about to listen to the hottest sounds. It's the hottest mixtape in the world, and you've got it.
You certainly have, if you wonder what has leapt out of your speakers here on Phoenix 4 Radio. I am Holly Miami. This is my first show on the station. It's lovely that this is, as I say, it's our first full day of shows. There's been some trial shows on running before, but we're up and running and bopping along nicely. We are going out, obviously, on Phoenix 4 Station. If you have an inkling that you'd like to see what we look like here in the same Ald Dross studio, which is actually high on a building somewhere in New York with the wind blowing through my hair. See, just like that. Just pop over to my personal website, which is hollymiami.com. There is a Twitch link on top of the site, and just click onto that and you can see what we're doing, as well as hearing what we're doing. Right, so I mentioned a while ago that my summer job, going out filming things, allows me to experience stuff, music I wouldn't normally listen to, including what I call updated and dancified classics. Now, Elton John has never been afraid of having a go at something different, and I heard this one coming out of one of these sets of speakers at one of the events and thought, this is a bit cool.
Hit after hit, all day long. This is the home of the best music throughout your workday.
I'm getting all a mess in me mouses again. I got 6 of them on the desk, and you guarantee I'll press the wrong button at the wrong time. Yes, Elton John. I gotta just get myself back in shot now. Elton John with I've lost the plot here, where are we? Elton John with Dua Lipa, Cold Heart, which is obviously a remix version, and rather fun too. So along the same line, and this is another one that I picked up in some wet field somewhere in July, where it should have been all sunny and wasn't. Elvis, now you know there's been a lot of work done on Elvis Presley songs and numbers since the poor guy's demise. In fact, I think I once heard that the Elvis Presley estate has made more money after he passed than when he was alive, but there you go. So another mix, and this is Unshamedly, latest Flame remix. Try and catch the video on this because it's doing something called shuffle dancing. There's a lot of girls, they're just dancing around, but it's something called shuffle dancing. So if all you girls out there want to learn some new dance moves for when you go clubbing, later, this is where you learn how to do it. It's real cool.
The life, respect the music, and keep your radio locked in.
just keep it locked into us here at Phoenix 4 Radio. What do you reckon? Can you do those steps? Could you do those steps on the pier and in the car park? I couldn't even walk to the car park. And as for walking down the pier, I can remember I used to do a lot of gigs down in Brighton at one point, and I can remember one occasion I took an extra day, so I'd gone down to Brighton a lot working, but I'd never had a chance to actually look around the place. So I gave myself an extra day and I did the touristy things. And I remember I had a pair of white, not quite stilettos, more kitten heels on at the time. And I thought, we'll go on Brighton Pier. And it's great, except nobody told me that the gaps in the planking were just enough to catch my heel, and within 100 yards I'd lost both my shoes. But there you go. So I ended up carrying my shoes along on the pier. But you learn about these things. So if ever I visited again, I know, no, of course I'm not going to go in flat shoes. I just remember to take them off earlier. Oh, you got so much to learn about me, you people.
Online and on the go on your mobile phone. We're the internet's best choice.
Sorry, I got to reposition myself. I had to jump up while that track was on, which is a shame because it's a particular favourite of mine. Eric Clapton and Wonderful Tonight. A nice live version there. We're back to versions again. I had to jump up. When I first went on air a bit earlier on, I had to black out the whole place so that the extra lighting I've got on worked properly and the colour blend was right. Well, obviously it's gone dark now, so it's getting rather warm in here. I'm not quite sure how many hundreds of watts we got burning, or the equivalent there, because they're all LEDs. The equivalent. But I've had to throw some windows open to get a bit of a through draft. Right. A little bit earlier on, I said I promised one for the delightful ear. I played this on, it might have even been the series before of Wildside. This is for a mid-70s song by a band called Fox. And the song is called Only You Can. Now, it's the teensy-weensiest bit suggestive, but it's nothing bad. There's certainly no nasty words in it. But the thing being that this particular video, and I've had this one for a few years, the girl is absolutely off her face. Now, how they got away with it, offer something else, as Ian said at the time, how they got away with it, I do not know. But grab a look at this, because it's just something that's a bit different.
Taking you back in time as we rewind the music.
Fox with Only You from about 1976 at a guess. And like I say, she's not on this planet. The thing being, I got a funny idea the band were Dutch. So that's not beer or wine she's been drinking either. You just got to work your imagination into that one. So we're going to whiz even back further now. We've done sort of Curved Air and all the rest of it earlier on. And this is one that was extremely popular and a little bit more mainstream from around at the time. And you've got to have just been a spotty sort of teenage type person and sat on the floor and listened in the sweet spot of the stereo and all that sort of thing.
We're not magicians. We just put magic into our music.
I knew I'd forget to do something. I haven't got to do air guitars. I got the real thing. I can do it. Look, all right now, and all that sort of stuff. Made me laugh about the early 70s gigs, and that was obviously some sort of an outdoor festival. And knowing a bit about ancient electronics as I do, yes, all my hair's all in a mess now. As I do, it's a case of, I don't know if you noticed the lead singer, if you were watching the video on that one, had to have two microphones strapped together because in the PA systems you couldn't jump them together, so he had to have two, so it had two microphones. So evocative, love it. It was in my early days of playing in bands, and it takes me back. Free with All Right Now, we like that greatly. Right, the next one coming along, I did actually play out when I did my little impromptu show a couple of days ago, but I'm going to play it again because it's evocative of a certain time. Cher, when she had a very, very short-lived marriage to Greg Allman, who eventually became part of Allman Brothers, and they completely changed everything both Greg Allman had done and Cher done. This is blues to the core, sung in an Americana style. It's really cool. I'll whack the volume up a little bit because it's got a quiet start, but this is really quite cool.
You're listening to Phoenix 4 Internet Radio Station.
Just how cool was that? There's blues, but with steel guitar and some absolutely blistering bass work in the back. I must find out who's doing the bass on that. That was a bit cool. So share with Greg Allman on their version of Lovely. We said 1977, it says so here. So right, back to the dancey stuff. So I taught you shuffle. Now to me, shuffle dance is what, older people, like me, do on the dance floor, just shuffle around. But that was rather cool. So if you think about it, let's do some beat matching. Ooh, I could make a DJ if I keep on doing this. Beat matching, similar sort of beat, but a much, much more well-known band. And again, another version.
Without you, this radio station wouldn't be here. Without us, it would just be... Thanks for tuning in and making it possible.
Yes, thank you all for tuning in, making it possible. Hot off the presses, the absolutely wonderful Tony is now going to be following me on the station here, Phoenix 4. He is jumping on from 8 till 10, so don't go anywhere. That makes it a really full day today that we have had, and a great bit of fun anyway. So, hot chocolate with a nice dancey version of You Sexy Thing. And the funny thing being, obviously, the late, great Ald Brown, the chat room is buzzing at the moment. They're saying that for you ladies who like guys, he is was quite easy on the eye. For us ladies who like ladies, he's still quite easy on the eye. He's just a nice looking guy, and you've just got to put your hands up and say, hey, we'll go with that.
One.
Yeah, I know, you have an iPod. But when did you last change the music on it?
A week? A month? 2 months, maybe more.
We change our music so you don't have to.
Yes. King Julian from the Madagascar films. What I love about, and I got all 3 of them on disc, what I love about those, they were one series of films that actually got better as they went on. Madagascar 3 was absolutely blistering. It was great. It's the humour that they put in with the adults of the dancey tracks like that. Right, okay, hey, let's move it all back. This one I know, I've played before, and it always goes down well. Again, if you're watching the videos, clock them hairstyles. Where did they come from?
Your station for the best new music and classics.
Yes, everybody who knows about these things knows that was Jean Knight with Mr. Big Stuff. Okay, next, I think she had the whole of the backing band hidden in that beehive. Perhaps she had speakers around, I have no idea, it was silly. The next one coming along, I've played it numerous times. It's a bit of a theme for me, and in fact, for this series of shows, it will be the theme. If you remember the little mashup I did right at the beginning, I actually nicked the rhythm track off this. I did a proper DJ thing and sampled it, the rhythm track off this, and then laid stuff over the top. But this was one, I lived in Spain for a few years, and I came back, I think it was around about year 2000, and this was everywhere, all over the radio at the time. Now, I haven't heard it, because of course I was living abroad, but it so sort of sums me up. Now, unfortunately, I will try and cut this in, because I know there's a bit of talking at the beginning of this, because it's a video. I'll try and cut it in, so it jumps in a little bit sharp. I will apologise.
You're listening to the station with the best mix of music.
You certainly are. Too many mouses to fiddle with. That was Kirsty MacColl in These Shoes, and it sort of goes back a little bit to my foray up Brighton Pier in These Shoes, yeah, in the sea. Right, so that was a lovely Latina beat to it, and as I say, it was sort of really so evocative with the Spanish bits in the middle, because I had just come back from the lovely country. So I've got to pair this up with something that again is a version, and yes, I did slip this one in on Wednesday, and I have played it before. I only discovered it a couple of years ago, but to me, and a lot of people will disagree with this, but carry on. Whose name is on this show? Oh no, not mine. Not anymore. Oh, get your show right, Miami. This to me is the best version of this song ever.
Are you fed up with radio stations that play the same songs?
Stay with us and our no repeat guarantee.
Yes, Leslie Grace with a lovely Spanglish version of Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow. Absolutely brilliant. Cracking musicality to it, and as I say, to me, the best version of the song. Okay, most of you who are listening tonight know of me, you know what I am, you know who I am. Not so many of you may know where my name came from, and it's a long story all about being 14 back in 1971, and listening to the song then and thinking the reason I loved it was that dreamy sax break at the end. And then many years later, when I realised who I was, I started listening to the words. So if you want to know where my name comes from, pin your ears back and listen to the first line of the song. It's all there.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
You certainly are. That's us here on Phoenix 4 Radio. Lou Reed, Walk on the Wild Side, from the absolutely groundbreaking Transformer album, 1971. And I was so naive, but I know now, and that's all that's important. Another one onto these modern-ified type classics. This one is a good version of this.
This is Phoenix 4 Internet Radio.
Yes, if you've not heard that one before, that is done by an outfit called Newton. No, I hadn't heard that before either until I started getting out around the festivals and the prides and all the rest of it. It's sort of like a live event type of version that people can bop around to. It's quite cool, if you like. It's not sort of hardcore dance, it's easier going. Okay, if I was to say to you, Fleetwood Mac, you'd think of the Rumours album. But just remember, it all started here.
It's another Radio Rewind.
Radio Rewind. Radio Rewind. Radio Rewind. Radio Rewind. Radio Rewind. Radio
Yes.
Rewind.
It's the title is actually Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac and I Need Your Love So Bad. The guitar work could have almost been early Clapton as well. It's all come out from the... You don't get more bluesy blues than that. Okay, so we've got about quarter of an hour left on this show. Don't forget that the absolutely wonderful Tony Popper Bearwood is following us on at 8 o'clock to give you a really good evening's entertainment here on Phoenix 4 Radio. So I'm going to pick up the pace for the last few tunes now. And again, if you're all dancing around, and you just gotta dance around to this one.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
It certainly is here. Yes, and to answer your question, Mandy, no, there's no age limit to dancing, my love. It's just there's a knee limit, and I haven't got them. Right, I've got to keep this rolling, as I say. We'll keep some up-to-date tunes ready to get you up to speed, because Tony has promised some really good dancing stuff from 8 o'clock onwards. So I've got to sort of dovetail in and try and match him now. I don't think there's much chance of that, do you?
Rockin' 24 hours a day.
That guy needs to gargle with something. Right, that was the Stray Cats, Rock This Town. And we're going to, you want something, you want blistering guitar work, you want it that's absolutely going to melt your speakers. Cop for this. That brings us to the end of this first edition of Same Ald Dross. That was Albert Lee and Vince Gilbert, Tear It Up. We've got to go out with a little bit of quote just for a couple of minutes before Tony Popper Bearwood. Hope you enjoyed what we played out for you this week, and if you did, perhaps you'll tune in again. Just remains for me, Holly Miami, to wish you all the best, to simply say, bye-bye.